Hello, beautiful Earth Angels. Welcome. Welcome to Earth Angels Unite. It is I'm just pressing go live on Instagram. There we go. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here with you for podcast 129. PTSD is not a life sentence. So PTSD can feel like a permanent identity, but with the angel's love, it doesn't have to be. In this powerful 9/9 portal episode, I'm going to share, how untreated PTSD reveals how the angels help completely heal trauma imprints. And understand that PTSD is not a life sentence with angelic support. And many empathic and sensitive souls have experienced trauma in this lifetime. And if you're here, if you're listening, chances are you've carried deep pain and wondered if it'll ever fully heal. The angels want you to know they have so much compassion for everything you've been through. And the biggest reframe they offer is that trauma and the subsequent PTSD is not a life sentence. It's a portal for awakening, for transforming pain into peace, and for receiving divine love that you only thought possible, which I really love. So I want to thank everybody who takes the time to be here for this podcast offering, whether you're here live, whether you're connecting with the replay. I really appreciate you. And I hope I'm speaking directly to your beautiful heart. And so, of course, my intention with these podcasts is to create a space of transformation, that you come one person and you leave another person that you leave transformed. And we do this by shining our heart light on the wound, on the trauma, on the issue and the tissue. And of course, when we gather together, we are more powerful. So in these podcasts, I've been sharing teachings from my debut book, Receiving from Your Angels, 4 Practices to Heal Your Pain with Angel Love, and an angel activation or an oracle card, really to help you to relax and cherish your body, to release whatever that pain, trauma, or wound is, and to receive, to trust your intuition and to receive, right? To receive the love that you need, right? To open up all those channels. And of course, we're on this awesome portal day, which I'll talk a little bit about. So my name is Jill Kempner, angel coach and author. As an angel coach, what I help my clients do is to heal the pain in their bodies with the love of the angels through my signature relax, release, receive process. And it's so beautiful how that unfolds individually for each of my clients. So, of course, there's a beautiful foundation, there's a beautiful template that I follow when I'm in my coaching sessions with my clients. But every single session is so personalized, so customized, so unique that I'm always so surprised and beautifully surprised, gratefully surprised, joyfully surprised at the magic that unfolds when we bring the angels love and perspective and healing into our conscious mind. So I want to say that those, my coaching clients, right, and my students are so brave, because this is like super courageous work, right? To open up and look at our pain, to be vulnerable, to honor our sensitivities, to connect with our sensitivities, but also protect our sensitivities. All of that, right? Like it's such a powerful journey, and it's an honor to walk by my client's side and watch them heal, watch them transform, take that wound or that pain that they've been holding for decades, some even a lot of decades, right? And turn it into wisdom, turn it into peace, turn it into deep, deep relief. So it's just an absolute honor to be an angel coach. And I've been in this healing arts field for 27 years. So I've taken all the experience, there's my professional experience in the healing world and healing field. And then there is my own life experience, right? That I'm going to talk a little bit about today. So I want to welcome everyone who will be here live, everyone who is connecting with the replay. Understand that the energy, I know we're in a portal day, right? The 999, which I'll talk about for a minute. But understand that whenever you connect with this, right? It could be 4 years from now, right? All the energy, the potency, the power of the medicine that's being shared here today, even the power of this awesome portal day is encapsulated in this replay. So it's all perfect, right? It's all divine. And so we're all surrounded in a circle of unconditional love, joy, miracles, empowerment, healing, and angelic protection. So my goodness, we are here on this portal day that I've been talking about. And, when I tuned in for the year, I asked the angels, what portal day do you want me to, have a special offering? And, they said the 999 portal, because this only happens every 9 years. So when we're talking about the number 9, right, we're talking about this energy of, right, it's the last single digit. And it represents the culmination of an epic cycle. So we're actually at the end of an epicycle. 2017 was a 1, and now 2025 is a 9. So, wow. And was really interesting that I didn't totally realize was that I actually started my angel coaching business in 2017, 9 years ago. And I got my first ever coaching client, who, by the way, is still working with me. Right. So this 9, right, the epicycle, the epic journey, it carries the energy of completion, mastery, and integration. 9 also does other things, right? It's also about sacred service. Even I tend to move away from self-sacrifice, but there is a sacrificing energy, but I like to see it more as devotion than sacrifice, right? So, there's 9/9 happens every year, right? There's September 9th every single year. But the 999 portal, right, only happens when we reach the end of the epicycle. So what the universe is giving us is an opportunity to close chapters, close books, and close karmic loops, right? End the cycle, let it go completely from your body, mind, and spirit, from your nervous system, and restart, begin again. Right? So 9 holds the energy of mastery, which means that you've learned the lessons of the cycle. And that's honestly the biggest thing I do with my coaching clients, right? We spend time understanding the deeper meaning of their pain. And it's amazing how many powerful penultimate sessions I can have with my clients when we really ask this question. And yes, remember, it's sometimes not only just one lesson, right? There's multiple lessons that we're learning. And if you're ready, like me, to break that cycle and not repeat the trauma in the next life, then this is the lifetime to heal it. This is the lifetime to learn everything your soul set out to learn. And it's not, right? So PTSD is not a life sentence. So that 9, right, is like you've practiced, you've stumbled, you've grown, and now you carry that wisdom in your heart, in your soul, in your energy body, right, that no one can take from you. 9 is also the energy of integration. So it means you're no longer just learning spiritually, which of course is important. You're living it, weaving your soul's truth into your body, your heart, and your everyday life, right? It's embodied, right? It's integrated. My coach talks about integration as sacred digestion, right? Taking in the experience, right? Taking in the nutrients, taking in the food, absorbing all the wisdom, the medicine, the goodness, and then releasing the waste. And then completion, right? This means closing old loops, releasing karmic baggage, and honoring how far you've come. When I woke up today in the 999 portal, What my angels wanted me to focus on was celebration, right? How much, well, first of all, the angels are in a constant state of celebration. So they're always celebrating you and your medicine, your growth, your healing, your willingness, your courage, all of that. But today it was just like, just really honor how far you've come on your journey, how much you've healed, and how this particular episode means so much to me because I really had to think back at how much I struggled with PTSD and how far I've come on that journey. And now I just have this like burning passion inside me to help others who are struggling with different traumas that they've experienced. And it could be trauma on multiple different levels. Okay, so that was that. I love that. So many downloads. And now I'm going to take a sip of water and see what else the angels are saying. Love that. I was just seeing what the angels were saying about where to start. So again, I feel like the angels want me to say this again. So the biggest reframe that the angels can offer is that your trauma is not a life sentence. And I'm going to talk about what that means, right? It's a portal. And I'm going to talk about my portal, right? A portal for awakening, for transforming pain into peace, and for receiving more divine love than you ever thought possible, more than you've ever received before, is what I like to say, right? And this is really about increasing our capacity to hold the frequency of miracles. That's actually what tonight's event is going to be about. So when you invite your angels in for healing, they shift you from victim to victory. And they remind you to be proud of yourself for not only surviving, right, but moving towards thriving. And, you know, the courage it takes to face the shadow, to face the pain, the fear, the grief, right, the trauma. And, you know, so those places inside of you can be alchemized, right, into the gems of wisdom, right? Into your medicine, which is what my soul coach talks a lot about, is your personal medicine. So the first 20 years of my life were filled with layers of trauma. I usually, you know, a lot of people ask, like, how did you get into this, you know, and how did you get into angels and energy work and all of that and becoming a healer? Hi, Marie, namaste. Yeah, say hi if you're here. Sorry, I meant to check on Instagram. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Sue. Hi, Susan. Namaste. And, you know, I usually sum it all up in one word: trauma. My childhood was chaotic. You know, there was abuse, there was neglect, there was instability. We even had a short bout of homelessness. And, you know, before that was like moving from apartment to apartment to apartment. I actually went to 6 grammar schools before I graduated 8th grade, which is a lot of like just upheaval, you know. And then, of course, my parents, you know, their karma, their pain bodies, because they weren't supported physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Of course, the deepest wound came when my father was tragically murdered when I was just 11. And of course, I was too young to process the madness that we had went through, the grief. So I built up all of these protectors, right? On the outside, you know, I was angry, I was judgmental. But on the inside, I was broken, right? Sad and hurting. But it felt safer at the time to be angry, to be judgmental. Those were my protectors, right? So in my 20s, I entered what I call like the storm years, right? I had the storm energy. So in just 2 years' time, I got engaged, I bought a house, I got married to my soulmate. My father-in-law passed away, and I got pregnant. So I had these kind of like joyful, right? Because there's so much joy and excitement. And I mean, I married my soulmate. It was like amazing. I bought a house, which I still live in today, 23 years later. I'm very proud of that because I wanted to give my kids the life I never had. So one thing I am celebrating today is doing that. Um, and I'm so proud of that. So thank you for reminding me to say that, angels. Right. So I had these joyful and then painful moments colliding, right? And what it did is it collided and it bounced off of all the unprocessed PTSD, right? And the grief that was living in my body, living in my nervous system, right? Below the surface, right? I was still carrying the weight of the stressful, chaotic childhood, my father's murder. I hadn't processed that, right? And I was too young to. We process it when we're ready. And that's who I'm calling forward, right? The earth angels, the cycle breakers, the empaths who are absolutely ready for transformation, who are like, or you're like, I'm not carrying this to the next life, right? I'm done with this. And not only am I not going to carry it to the next life, I'm going to be so brave and courageous. I'm ending it for my whole lineage. Those are the people I'm here to serve. So if you're one of those people, raise your hand and let me know. So after my daughter was born, I struggled to make sense of everything. And, the grief and trauma were clouding, which should have been a really joyful initiation into motherhood. So the first year of her life was really tough for me. And everything that I had been suppressing came, it's interesting, it came crashing down, but I feel like it came all out. So I ended up in the psych hospital. Actually, September 11th, that's coming up, will be my 19-year anniversary. So that's how long ago it was since my dark night of the soul. And look at how far I've come, right? And the period after the psych hospital was what I call the dark night of the soul. And in my first, that's the first story I tell in my book, right? It's called Dark Night of the Soul because that was became my portal, became my opening. But at the time, it did not feel like that, right? I was face to face with my shame, my self judgment, my grief. And what I later realized was untreated, undiagnosed PTSD, right? I was hypervigilant, right? I was intense. I was controlling because, right, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for something bad to happen. I mean, I'm so much better now around that, but even just talking about it, I can feel like, oh, right, I still had those parts, but also recognizing how far I've come to not let those parts take over. So, what seemed devastating at the time, that dark night of the soul, actually became my biggest portal, right? It was the doorway back to my soul's mission and to my personal joy, which all that time, it's not like I was faking joy, but I wasn't really experiencing pure joy, honestly, until I met the angels. And that's why I share this today, right? To help you see that PTSD is not forever. It's not forever. And with your angels' help, you can heal it. And what do I and let me see. Yeah, so here's what I talk to mean when I talk about PTSD, right? What it really is. We're going to talk about it physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I'm just seeing, I think the angels were saying something. Hmm. So this in the 999 portal, right? Every day is powerful. Every day is meaningful. Every day counts, right? Every day matters. You matter. Your light matters. A download I got about this portal as I've been thinking about it and promoting it and getting downloads and all of that is your light is priceless. And I was like, wow, that really. And so what does that mean? It means that we have to do everything we can to make our light brighter. and we have to invest in ourselves. I'm so grateful that I figured out, because of this dark night of the soul, the biggest gem, right, was like, I need to take better care of myself. Like, I need a therapist. I need regular self-care that's scheduled in, to help me heal physically, to help me heal emotionally, to help me grow spiritually. And then, of course, I found Reiki and all the wonderful medicine that I'm doing now, right? It's really why the Dark Night of the Soul story is in Renew Your Devotion practice number 1, is because that's how I created the daily practice, right? The daily practice was born out of the Dark Night of the Soul, right? That suffering of intense emotional pain that was left unprocessed. And I don't judge my parents, I don't judge myself for what I went through. I'm just so grateful it was I turned it into an awakening. And this was the lifetime to do it, right? And then I think that's why I've experienced so many challenging, hard, difficult things, right? Is so now I can walk you through that with more grace, with more ease, with less suffering, right? That's my prayer. So physically, PTSD is a nervous system injury, right? It dysregulates the brain, the amygdala, the fear center, the hippocampus, the memory, and the prefrontal cortex, the reasoning. So stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood the body, creating hypervigilance, sleep problems, chronic pain, and immune system issues, right? Think autoimmune. Because I do believe that, and here's what I'm discovering from my own personal experience, from what my mom went through, and from what, like, clinically, what I'm helping my clients with, field work, is that autoimmune issues stem from unprocessed PTSD. It's not the only cause of it, but it is one cause of it. So there is a very close connection between autoimmune issues and unprocessed PTSD. Okay, emotionally and mentally, PTSD shows up as anxiety, irritability, panic attacks, intrusive thoughts, sometimes nightmares. We can have nightmares for lots of different reasons, full moons and eclipses and all that as well, right? We're in just the last day of this full moon eclipse, which I've been talking about. Emotional numbness. But I'm curious, for those of you who are here live, for those of you who are watching the replay, like, if you have a PTSD, how does it show up for you? It can cause distrust. That's what I feel. That was something that came to me, or self-blame, deep self-blame. I think what came up for me when I was, talking about the 999 portal and talking about healing PTSD was, it makes you doubt yourself, right? It makes you second guess your guidance, your intuition, your gut. It's like, it's like, it, right? You know it, but you second guess it, right? That's a PTSD symptom. And then spiritually, what I have here is trauma fragments the soul. Not exactly right. It fragments our parts because our soul is whole, right? Your soul is whole, but we carry those wounds both emotionally, which then leads into the physical, and also energetically. Parts of us freeze in the moment of that pain, leaving us disconnected from our angels and our higher self, right? PTSD creates a sense of abandonment by God. Many people, I did feel that when I was a child. I did grow out of that and learn the truth. And I actually had forgotten about that, or the universe, right? And locks us into survival energy instead of allowing us to thrive. So I'm just listening because I felt like the angels were saying something. So we can see how a traumatic event for me, was that chaos of moving from apartment to apartment, um, from school to school to school, from, my parents fighting, from, you know, just all the instability, the lack of familial support, emotional support, even spiritual support. Because I had some like, I won't talk about it today, but I would say spiritual abuse as well. And so there was for me, a disconnection from spirit, right? A disconnection from source, which it ultimately actually sort of makes me chuckle now that like I'm like literally an angel coach, right? Channeling angels and source energy and all of that, right? When I was actually at the complete contrasting opposite of that about 30 some odd years ago, more than that now. So the trauma is over, the trauma is done, but the residual effects that it leaves in our body, that it leaves in our aura, that's what we have to clean up. That's what we have to unpack. That's what we have to dissolve, alchemize, transform into our medicine. And I'll be honest, it's we can't do this alone, right? We need help. Like I have a whole team of people that put me back together, right? I have a coach, a therapist, an acupuncturist, a chiropractor, a massage therapist, an energy healer, and then my own personal daily practice. And that's why I can show up and name this, right? Name it to tame it, name it to clear it, and support you in doing the same thing. So there was something else I wanted to say. So yeah, for me, PTSD showed up a lot. So I had all the childhood PTSD that was unprocessed that led to the dark night of the soul. And that was my opening right to the angels. Then I had PTSD from later in my life challenges, right? My brother was in a traumatic car accident in 2018. He pretty much died and came back to life. And then the struggle of his recovery. And so some of the PTSD for me personally was those 30 days in the ICU that kind of fried my nervous system, my mom's nervous system, because you're living on the edge of your seat. You don't know if he's going to live or die. And one of my PTSD moments, which I had to I honestly, to talk about this, I had to remember it, which is a good thing because I've cleared so much. But was when my mom was, I talked about this before in one of the episodes, my mom was having a negative thought. This is so horrible. This is so horrible. This is so horrible. Right. Just he was on dialysis and, she didn't know if he was going to live or die, if he was going to be, in like a vegetative state, non-responsive state. And so she was just in this like negative mantra. And then like a second later, he codes, right? And he turns blue and they kick us out of the room and blah, blah, blah. He had a pulmonary embolism, which they were able to figure out and clear. They sucked a blood clot from his leg. He was getting dialysis. So a blood clot went from his leg to his lungs, but they cleared it and, he survived that. But oh my God, did that leave an imprint on me? There's so many more. I won't get into all of them, but, it took time. It took time. It took mindfulness. It took presence. It took the relax, release, receive process to release that from my system. And right, the power question is, what lesson am I learning from this pain? What lesson am I learning from this trauma? Right. And so we have to ask that. It's why that's woven in to the relax, release, receive process, which is what I lead every single one of my clients experiences the relax, release, receive process in every session with me. And we do the relax, release, receive process so that their body, mind, heart, energy body can soften and we can allow the medicine to flow. But what is the medicine, right? It's your angel team's love for you. It's your personal intention. It's angel Reiki. and IET, integrative energy therapy. Those are the and I also work with crystals and crystal healing to amplify, right? You think about crystals, I love this one, right? They're angel receivers. This is black tourmaline and selenite. This is called a Vogel. And this will be one of the crystals I work with and my clients, right? To hone in and bring in that energy on a deeper level. And so through that, so thank you, Angel. So I was like, yes, so that power question, right, is woven into the relax, release, receive process because we want to ask that question over and over and over again until we get the answer, right? And it took me a long time to get the gem of that, of my dark night of the soul. It didn't come right away, but I also didn't have this practice, right? So like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this practice was born out of my suffering, my pain body, my healing process. And now I'm here to share it with you. So I hope that resonates. So I wanted to share a few stories of clients that I've helped along the way, right? Walk through this journey. So I had a client that was carrying unresolved grief after a sudden loss of a loved one. And their nervous system was stuck in panic and unable to rest. Through angelic healing and, also the archangels, right? We brought in Raphael, Archangel Raphael, the healer angel. We brought in Azrael, the angel of comfort, into the heart chakra, right? And over time, that grief softened into gentleness, right? And they moved from living in that constant state of panic and replaying those scenes, that was going to say, replaying those scenes, right? To feeling that peaceful connection with their loved ones on the other side. I mean, that's huge. And it's an honor to walk by their sides as this happens. And what I found too, I know I've mentioned this when I was talking about my mom's cancer journey, sort of holding the torch to her suffering and this past anniversary that I finally was like, I need to let that go so I can connect with her soul, and the soul's mission and the soul's purpose, because even though she's not here on this earth as my mom right now, she's still a beautiful soul on the other side. And I can choose to hold on to regret and suffering and grief, or I can choose to alchemize that, let it go, and receive her joy, right? So I love that. And one of the things that I replayed over and over again was when my mom had the overdose. That was a very traumatic experience for me. And, in part because I blame myself, I was the one administering the meds to her under the doctor's care, of course. But she was never the same after that. She had a bit of a brain injury. And it took a lot of healing for me to stop blaming myself, and to let go of just continuing to see that scene over and over and over again, and all the feelings and emotions and everything that it created inside of me. So I had another client that was carrying chronic pain rooted in childhood abuse. So PTSD kept their nervous system on high alert, right? And their body felt unsafe. In our angel coaching sessions, we worked with her specific angel team, but of course, Archangel Michael for safety, Archangel Raphael for repair, and all of that parts work, right? To release the shame, to release the fear, right? The anxiety, to release the grip of the trauma, right? And then the pain began to ease, and they reclaimed their body as a safe and sacred home. So my angel coaching programs are designed to create this like amazing, comforting safety net for you to process whatever you've experienced, whether it's from this life or past lives, Oftentimes what's happening in this lifetime, especially for us highly intuitive, highly sensitive souls, we're experiencing the 9 is coming through right now, right? This end of this epicycle. It's like, what are you not gonna take with you into the next epicycle? This is the time to clear it. Yes, today is important, but this whole rest of the year is going to be important because we still have more time of this 9 to clean up this karma. And this is just one portal of an opening, this 999, to clear that. So another client was living in a state of hypervigilance. They couldn't sleep. They were always scanning for danger. With angelic support, right, we rewired the nervous system back into parasympathetic rest. Right? Raphael's emerald green light and Haniel's grace restored balance. And for the first time in years, they experienced deep relief, restorative sleep, and trust in the benevolence of life. I mean, it's so awesome, right? This is such an honor. And so every archangel can support healing and transformation, right? Every archangel has so much medicine. And here's the thing, we're not erasing the past, right? We're alchemizing it, right? We're turning pain into medicine, shame into compassion, and wounds into wisdom. And this is not for the faint of heart, right? It takes so much courage to change those patterns, so much courage to face the trauma with your light and let go of the residual PTSD. And so I'm just listening because I felt like the angels were saying something. So PTSD is not a life sentence. You can absolutely heal it out of your, right? Heal the flashbacks, heal the emotional wounding around it, heal the core of why that all unfolded in your journey, right? That's what becomes the medicine and the wisdom. So we can work with Archangel Raphael, the healer angel, to repair the nervous system with emerald green light. We can work with Michael, Archangel Michael, to restore safety and cut those cords of pain and fear, right? That was one of the cards yesterday in Oracle Monday. Azrael, Archangel Azrael, right? The angel of comfort, to soothe grief and integrate loss, right? Into gentleness, into grace. Uriel, to reframe the painful memories with divine compassion, right? Because judgment freezes, compassion softens and dissolves, right? And Haniel, Archangel Haniel, the angel of emotional relaxation, to stabilize emotions and restore joy. Uriel's the angel of illumination, right? Illumination, hope, innocence, joy. And so I'm just listening for a moment as we wrap up. So let's tune in. We're going to ask your angels a question. So closing your eyes, placing one hand at your heart and one hand at your belly. Just taking a cleansing breath. I shared so much, so many downloads. And we let the 999 portal, this opening for mastery, this opening for culmination, completion, this opening of integration, to support you in holding the frequency of miracles instead of the frequency of post-traumatic stress disorder. And so we feel all these portals open and this beautiful light shining down from your guardian angels, this pearlescent white light surrounding you. As you say, I am devoted to receiving love and healing from my angels. Setting the intention, the devotion, the commitment to have your heart open to your angel's love, your mind align with divine mind. And in this peaceful, receptive state, space, as you just let yourself receive your angel's love and devotion for you, they are here for you. Your number one cheerleaders, celebrating all the healing you've already done, all the mastery you've already embodied, all the integration you've woven in, they're just like that's what I feel is happening right now. Your guardian angels are just in this like state of celebration, honoring you. They're so proud of you. They're so grateful for you. They're really just so in love with you, right? Adoring you, cherishing you. And so take in the celebration that your angels have for you into the conscious mind, into the heart. And just know that they're just a thought away, they're just a breath away. They're just one devotional statement away. And let that love flow into any part of your body where you're holding PTSD, autoimmune issues, chronic pain, whatever. Just let that white, pearlescent white light flow into your body. PTSD is, we're going to affirm, PTSD is not my destiny. I am safe. I am loved. My angels are helping me heal completely. Mm. And so asking loving angels, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to receive the gem, the wisdom from my pain, from the PTSD. What is the deeper meaning of the trauma and the subsequent PTSD that I've been experiencing? I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to heal. I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to relax, release, receive. The higher meaning, the deeper purpose for deep integration. And here's what the angels are saying. What karmic loop am I closing? What chapter is closing? What book is closing? And I heard of the self-judgment, that karmic loop is closing, just all judgment and self-judgment. And so it is. So just feeling gratitude in your heart as we bow to each other, knowing that the answers, just trusting, right? Trusting your intuition, trusting your body, trusting your heart, trusting all the ways your angels are communicating with you, sealing this short inner journey with a namaste. Namaste. Ooh, I love that. Actually, Guardian Angel was one of my cards today, which I love so much. Guardian Angel's white, protection, clarity, spirituality, and wisdom. Look at how beautiful that is. So I really felt them here, just sending you so much love. They are here with you, healing your nervous system, healing your body. And yes, we do need to ask, we do need a method to connect with them. And I'm just listening for a minute. Before I pull a closing card, I want to invite you to break that pain, love, pain cycle by signing up for and experiencing my beautiful free consult. So it's called the Angelic Pain Relief Consult. And it is a very sacred space. It's a compassionate, heartfelt space where I'm listening to you and your angels, and I'm bringing in their medicine, their wisdom, their healing around your specific issue in the tissue. So again, I'm here to help those cycle breakers, right? Those empaths, those earth angels who are ready for true transformation and alchemy. So I'm going to be sharing what your pain is really about. It's often not what you think it is. And then what your angels are saying about your pain. This brings so much relief. Just knowing, right, that your angels are there and they're bringing in their perspective of your pain, that begins to shift it, that begins to transform it. And then based on your intention and what we talked about in the consult, I'm going to pull an archangel for you that's going to be walking by your side on your next healing journey steps, your next steps on your healing journey. And then if we're a good fit, I'll share the details of my coaching program with you. Just know I understand how courageous it is, how brave it is to both look at your pain, um, but understand that when we do it with the angels, there's so much safety and protection and comfort and love. It actually feels good to look at your pain. I know that sounds funny. It's like, how can that feel good? No, it feels good because well, I don't want to get into ABC. That's my one of my manager parts. I love you, right? It provides your healing. You're committed to your healing and showing up for that, right? Showing up for yourself and knowing that there's actually an easy way out of this pain body, an easy way out of whatever PTSD, autoimmune issue in the tissue you're experiencing. It's so much easier than letting it sit there. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to put the consult link in the comments, and I have several openings this month for this free consult. I'd love to have that conversation with you. So today is again that 999 portal, and I have something called the 999 angelic nervous system refresh. So it is a 75-minute healing where I'm going to lead you through I'm going to lead a group of us, right, through. So this is a group energy healing, group angel healing, to either rewire your nervous system to hold more of your soul's frequency, your angel's love, or a complete replacement of your nervous system, right? If you've experienced multiple traumas, if you have a chronic illness or a chronic pain or a chronic autoimmune issue, whether you're flared or not, right? We want to take out the old nervous system and implant one that holds the frequency of miracles. So we're going to be working with Archangel Orion, the angel of miracles, Archangel Raphael, of course. Oh my gosh, he's giving me so many downloads about tonight. The healer angel. We're going to be working with beautiful Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, because compassion is always the answer. And then your personal guardian angels are going to be really leading the way. And I'm just listening and channeling Angel Reiki, IET, taking you through the relax, release, receive process in this powerful 9 portal, the 999 portal. So there's still a few openings in that offering. If you'd like to join us, I'd love for you to be there. And yeah, you can sign up for the consult, which is a great way to connect with me. And I'd love to have that conversation with you to support you in your next healing steps, your next healing journey, and lots of other wonderful offerings that are coming up. So if you can't be there live today, know that you can connect with a replay. I send the replay immediately after the session. So later that night, tomorrow, the next day. Just know what's so cool about these recordings on these portal days, right, is that all the medicine, all the energy, the potency of the full moon, eclipse, and the 999 are all encapsulated in that replay. So that's just so amazing. So it's like whenever you listen to it, I see this as one of those offerings that's in your angel library that you can pull out anytime you have another layer of PTSD to clear. But I'm excited to see the impact that this is going to make in the world when we're clearing PTSD from our systems, creating a new, shiny, radiant, increased capacity nervous system to hold the frequency of miracles and unconditional love and your guardian angels' benevolence. So I look forward to seeing you soon. I'll be sending this replay in my newsletter, so you can sign up on my website, jillkemperhealing.com, and check out all the wonderful offerings that are coming up as well. Mwah! I love you all. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye, Marie. Bye, Lauren. Bye, Amy and La Kik.